is past meeting time. Can we take roll call, please?
Joe Carlisari,
Here.
Donnie Chestnut,
Here.
Jane Condon,
Here.
Tom Osterberger,
Here.
Jeff Pearson,
Here.
Kathy Trisna, here, Bob Pilato,
Here.
Kat Mudrin.
Here.
Okay. Next up is the approval of minutes from the February 22nd meeting. And Mr. Pearson was asking about March minutes. Are we always,
Did I not put my, been a little confusing without a server in.
Yeah. Should we revise that and say March? March.
No, because it, what does it show?
it says February 22nd.
I think those were.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the content
There's
was
a
March.
message.
Okay.
Yeah, content was there.
Okay, I'm going off the agenda.
Yeah.
Is it so loud?
Yes, yes.
I have no home, you know that.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the March regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public to be heard regarding agenda items. Any comments regarding today's agenda?
Not in regards to the agenda directly, but I do have a couple of things I'd like to say.
Well, why don't you start and we'll see how far we go.
Okay. Well, first I'd like to welcome Valerie
Oh, thank you.
to the Rialto. Secondly, I'm curious, and Valerie may have the answer, why this Local Music Mondays isn't on the Rialto website?
It is not.
Is it now?
Yeah, it was just put on.
Oh, okay.
Was it today or yesterday?
It was put on yesterday. They were waiting for Ticketmaster.
Oh, okay, and that's, and then I have a third question that would go to the board. There is a marquee that's semi-built, and it's sitting at Great Signs, and there's video boards there. And what is the board's intentions? What are you going to do with that? I know Dan Vera talked about putting a portion of it on the back of the Rialto at one time. There was going to be revenue there to do that. But you have all this money sitting there that possibly could be sold.
And we are actually exploring that right now.
Oh, okay.
We're in discussion. Where'd Jack go? Oh. Jack is in discussion with Venue Works and other parties who may have an interest in the inside of the,
The marquee that was abandoned. Okay, well, thank you.
so we're trying to see what we can get for that. I can't speak on behalf of the board, but I am interested in selling that and getting whatever we can.
Yeah, that's that was my thinking also, so. Okay, well, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Okay, financial reports, you should have received operational bills paid and payable. Any comments or questions before we ask for approval?
I have a question about the comp, the workman's comp.
Okay.
How does that fit in with Venue Works? Are we covering that separately, or?
Dale can respond to that.
Yes.
We had a discussion with
We
others.
had discussions with our insurance carrier, our insurance agent, who happens to be Armin DeAndrea from Northern Insurance on Humboldt Road. Philadelphia is our major carrier for liability, property, etc. And Michigan Commercial Insurance Mutual out of Florida is the workman's comp insurance. They have different premium years, and currently MICM is the one that you're asking for. And yes, when severance packages are completed for the authority side of the business, which we are intending on doing that with paying out of accrued vacation, those people who did not wish to roll over vacation to VenueWorks, then after those people are paid off, and after some employees who are no longer employees of the authority, after they have been paid off, which would probably be in May, then workman's comp for the authority will cease, and workman's comp for everyone else will be carried by VenueWorks.
Can I answer your question, Ted?
Could I ask a question?
No. Go ahead, Patrick.
I think I disagree. That these people are no longer employees, they're no longer employees. You can't collect comp unless you're actively at work. So if you're not actively at work, that policy should be canceled back to
It
the
should
last
be date of service. when
date of
it's
service,
finished.
which was already approximately March 1st,
Mail.
I believe.
So
I know my part of it is right. I think if they stopped getting a payroll check from the Rialto and started getting a payroll check from Venue Works, that's the date the policy's canceled.
Want to go back and talk?
Dale, are these old, but is this, the payroll in here current?
This would be,
Because we don't have.
usually we have, they're due the 16th of every month. So if, let's see, this would have been April, our server was down for the first 2 weeks in April. I'm not sure if we included that in the April
So
dates,
these are March invoices.
so they could be March. And if that's the case, then you're liable for this particular one. But I believe with the conversation that we had with Armin DeAndrea, as well as Mr. Sullivan from Venue Works, John Steele from Venue Works, and Jeff Pearson happened to be in the same meeting, we thought it would be best for coverages while this went on until the payout was completed. So all of that could,
Yeah,
could,
so why don't you do that, if you could, please? And maybe bring Dale in the middle of that, so
Yep.
we have an understanding here. We certainly don't want to miss any dates or any coverage.
Yeah, one thing, this is a March bill, so is it,
So this is probably okay.
yeah, this one's okay, we're going forward. This is a March bill. So they were still employed at that time.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding the bills? Sure.
I think this is directed towards Dale. As I understand from a conversation I had with Valerie, that we switched website providers from the Gammon Group to Mozart.
Mozart, yes.
It's Mozart?
M-O-A-Z, M-O-A-Z-A-R-T, I think that's how you spell it, Mozart.
M-O-A-T.
Okay. And as I understood it, the Mozart broke off from the Gammon Group, is that how it is?
That's my understanding, yes. I wasn't in the negotiations at all, but that's my understanding. And I believe the person who was working at Gammon continued to work on our website January, February, March, doing whatever was necessary to get us through those particular months.
Do you have something to add to that?
The Gammon Group, the gentleman who owned the Gammon Group went to work for another company, so he dissolved his company. And the Mozart is an employee who was at the Gammon Group handling the website.
Okay. The only question I had was the Mozart, there's a expenditure about $1,700 for the development server down payment. I just wonder what that was.
That's going forward, I believe, with redesign of the current website. And it was between $3,000 and $4,000, and this is what they wanted as a down payment. So it's continuing to be revitalized and refined, and I guess I'm not so savvy on the platform portion of it, but it'll be carried on your cell phone, I guess, through an app kind of deal that it isn't now, whatever that means.
Any other questions before I
Can I
ask?
throw out a comment about, I don't know, maybe we have to wait till the end to comment? That $3,000-4,000 for a web design seems awfully high. Was it vetted, or how's that decided?
Val, can you respond to that?
Well, this was, Tim had been working with him prior to my arrival. I do know that the website, the current website, is basically just for your computer. And I would venture to guess a fair amount of the information on there is wrong, antiquated, needs to be updated. But I know that one of the things that he's going to be doing is formatting the new website so that you can look at it on your phone. It's on your phone, not, a portion of it on your phone, on your iPad or whatever. That, I believe, was just an estimate, hence, the down payment being what it is. It's about how proactive we can be moving forward to get the information to him that he needs in a timely manner and in increments of not, oh, change this name or Oh, add this picture.
So it's ongoing services, not just one redesign, it's an ongoing contract. service.
Exactly, then once we get up and running, it is the intent that we will be able to make many of the minor changes within the marketing department, but that anything big, he would be able to support us in doing.
Right, so my understanding from talking to Tim previously is that I think they're transitioning from, to a new content management system where you don't have to modify it with HTML, you don't have to have the programmer involved. So that's part of the down payment. I was just curious mostly about the fact that I want to make sure we're done with the gamut group, that's out the window, right? Okay.
Okay, any further comments or questions? Can I have approval then? And you want to take a roll call, Mr. Daly?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Jane Condon,
Aye.
Tom Osterberger,
Aye.
Kathy Tristan. Aye. Joe Carl Sorry,
Aye.
Donnie Chestnut,
Aye.
Jeff Pearson,
Aye.
Bob Pilato.
Aye. Okay, under new business, we have a network server failure. Who's going to discuss that? Val? No?
Good Lord, I hope not.
Dale?
Well, let's say this, it's been HEXX for about 3 weeks. And payroll had been delayed, and the payroll ending the 9th of April was delayed until the following Tuesday due to failure and such. So people have been working around it. Patty has been really the primary person on staff who has been coordinating that effort with different companies that came in to ascertain whether or not the defunct server was salvageable or not. We were migrating towards
The second company, well, the first company,
a
IT
cloud kind
Lighthouse.
of basis, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, they couldn't figure it out.
Right.
And then we checked on another company because they were low in price. And we were gonna go to the cloud. And after a week of them not doing anything, then I contacted VeerTech and we'll be up tomorrow. We're gonna be up tonight, but we'll be all up and going.
So is this a cloud-based system?
No.
It's not. Did we look into that?
Yeah, well, not a whole lot. They're calling these virtual, there's 6 hard drives. So like if one goes out, the next one, they're calling them virtual servers. 'Cause They have everything off site as well.
So
And they'll
it
monitor.
basically is cloud, if it's virtual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any idea as to the cause of the failure?
Altogether,
Russians or something?
The cause, you said not the cause of the cause.
Cause, sorry.
we believe it was a power surge because he did have a surge protector on the server, but something even wiped out the server. I asked if this could be malicious.
Is there any action we need to take on this issue, or is this just information? Information, okay. A couple months ago, I think we talked about a booking guideline, if you will, and at the time, either Tim Berry or John Seal mentioned that VenueWorks had such a policy for other venues, and that he would be working on one for the Rialto. So we all received that last week, and hoping that all of you had a chance to read it. I got it a few days before you and read it, and we made a few slight changes. For me, the key is, a couple keys on page 2 of 5. We talk about a WCMEAA subcommittee and a risk amount that we are willing to put into this booking policy, and that can be changed every year. Actually, it can be changed as often as we want, but would be reviewed every year. And as you saw in your document, I suggested 0 for the first year. and Val and Tim and John were okay with that. This subcommittee that it refers to in here, my suggestion would be that as opposed to a number of people on this committee, because we need to respond quickly to this. This is not a committee where we can call everybody, try and arrange a meeting, and do this 10 days later. So I'm suggesting that maybe one or two members, probably two since it's a committee, of this board agree to serve on this committee, subcommittee. Unless anyone wants to volunteer for this today, I would ask that you consider that and let me or Val know, and we'll put this together going forward. To me, that was the issue, the two big issues in here. I'm certainly open it up to other comments that any board members or council or Patrick may have regarding this issue.
Oh, it's nice to have an odd number on the committee.
Yeah, but we can't have three board members.
Well, once you create the committee, that's subject to the Open Meeting Act.
Oh, it is?
All committees are subject.
Even if there's two people?
We could have a one-person committee.
You have a one person.
So I think we should have one person.
Don't talk to yourself.
Final word.
Yeah, anytime you create a committee, Mr. Chairman, it's subject to the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
So,
And,
I mean, they don't have to all be board members either. You might choose a staff member, or something.
That's a good idea.
Touch too.
yeah. Well, by default, Val's going to be part of this committee. So
Well,
she-
I think you probably, yeah, that's true.
So unless anyone's ready to volunteer right now, I'll ask you to think about it, and we can appoint this committee in the near future. Any other comments on the document itself? Questions, John? Any questions?
Do we need approval?
Yeah, we did. We did. Is everyone comfortable moving with approval on this? Jane, you look like
Does it
you've got
need to
some.
be a committee, or could it, like, one of our board members be kind of a liaison to staff or something? Where that they can be nimble and respond to the requests that they get, and then,
I guess it all, I think it could be one person. And the question is, whether or not, I mean, that person is going to be making some decisions really on behalf of this board. So the question is whether,
that's true.
either the board would be comfortable doing that or that one person would be comfortable doing that.
Right.
Even with one person, you have to make it subject to the committee. If it was a one-person committee, they would have to meet, post the meeting, because you're expending funds, right? So
Yeah, I suppose you could
I
just, I mean, rather than have a committee, I suppose another approach would be you could appoint the chairman to make these decisions. And I don't know, we haven't talked about it. I don't know if you guys would be comfortable with that, or he would be comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm saying in lieu of a subcommittee, you do something else, like appoint a person. So that you can put the response and work with.
I mean, I'm comfortable doing it, but if the rest of the board's comfortable with that, that's the question. Even if, so wait a minute, let's talk about this before I violate any laws here.
Yeah,
Well,
Pardon me?
Can we appoint you and cap it?
But am I still subject to the open meetings?
Well, no, I don't think you're creating a committee at that
Yeah.
point. You're authorizing the chairman to make certain decisions.
So we would need to
Which-
correct this wording in here.
Yes.
Okay. I'm okay with that if the board's okay with it, but I'm not trying to jam it down your throat.
And you would be
Or
working
even,
with Val or?
Jeff, do you want to do it? Jump up there.
you didn't fall.
Not yet.
Or maybe Val could tell us a little bit about what this
Yeah,
look like and how these
Yeah.
decisions would mechanically work and what kind of goes into them. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but.
What is?
I think it is our purpose moving, it is our intent moving forward that as we are looking to book things, we are doing it with a very mindful set of eyes. Of course, no one books anything to lose money, but certainly there are things when you can see there's a greater risk than others. Bob is correct in that a lot of times when these things present themselves, we don't have the luxury, although the agent has the luxury of time, we don't. So we need to take a good look at it and decide if this really does look like, based on the numbers we put together and the pro forma that we have moving forward, does it look realistic? So I think that that's what we're looking for, is maybe just another set of eyes to review what we've put together to determine that, yes, this definitely does look like something we can move forward with our zero risk or.
And this was contemplated in the management agreement that we did with Venue Works. The policy, we said we would come up with a policy and then follow it.
And just one other thought, would there be a way, even though Bob has the authority and we possibly don't create this committee, that we would all at least review it? And so then if we had questions, we could throw them at Bob, and we'd have to, again, be very responsive to time constraints. But, like, I need your response in 48 hours for move forward or something like that. But then we'd all at least have input.
I mean, you can't have interactive communications.
That's the problem.
I mean, you can have one-on-one
Right,
communications. But you can't have interactive communications between more than two of us.
So Bob, is this, maybe it's more for Val, this Venue Works has used this
At other
elsewhere?
locations? Yes.
I don't think everybody's seen it. Why don't you give me a 10-second review of what it said, how it works?
Well,
Or have Val, just so that because if we're gonna vote to approve it now, I don't know. I'm okay, I've reviewed it, and I trust him and happy to have you be in charge. But when we're talking about zero risk, those are just the good judgments Venue Works is gonna propose anyway, correct?
I'm going to assume, though, that if they really truly believe that a program is something that, a particular program is one that they want to bring to the theater, that if they assess that there are certain risks associated with it, maybe even non-financial, that they would discuss it with whoever it is. If it's me, it's me.
I agree.
Because one of the things right on the front page it talks about as a statement of purpose is that when we do schedule events, there are non-financial issues to be considered. And so I think, one of the guiding lights that, that I, or even, anyone on this board could give Val is that she's only been here 4 weeks, as opposed to some of us who've been here 50 years.
Yeah.
We can help her, manage some of those issues if there are issues to be managed. And then the remainder of the document basically just says, look, this is how we book a performance. And if Jeff's got a date set and I come in and I want his date and he can't pay, or he hasn't paid, or he has an old bill outstanding, then guess what? I'm going to move into the spot. It's very logical, as I read it.
So I don't think.
So do you need a committee then for that? Because I'm just thinking, if you're gonna create a committee that requires now more open meetings and notification, you've got to put some more time restraints on decision making.
No, I personally am okay, as I've often said, I love one-man committees.
I bet you do.
Now, I don't Jeff could be the one-man committee in this deal, and I'm okay with that.
Look, I think it makes a lot of sense to have you be essentially the liaison to the board and work with Val, and you can communicate anything that comes up.
You can always reevaluate this next month or next year, whenever you want to do it.
So
Let's try it for the.
I'd make that motion and ask that the language be changed to make it the chairman to work with the director until, there's no time limit, so as Dave says, until further notice, if you feel we should change it.
Until you screw it up.
Yeah, and then we say, look, we need to, pull your coattail and say,
One person isn't too.
It's a lot easier.
To Jane's point, though, we could, I don't know if there's a problem with distributing the proposals before Bob rules on it, right? Yeah.
No, as long as there's not an interactive
Right.
communication.
You could send that out before Bob votes on it,
Just so we're aware.
just so we're aware.
What are we sending out?
I mean, by email, I had assumed.
No, but what are we sending out?
What would be the proposal?
The outline for the event.
Okay.
that's strictly.
There's a motion, I can second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to reword the document and approve it next month.
Yes.
Does that work out?
Or you just approve it? I thought you were.
Yeah,
I thought.
Oh, the motion is to
Change
change
it.
this subject to the change.
Change it, yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
I need you to pay attention.
Okay, we're at executive reports. Rialto Square Theater Foundation. Jane, is that you?
Okay, yes, that's me. The foundation board met last Wednesday, and one of the things that they really wanted to nail down were the fundraising events that they were going to be doing in the next 12 months. And they have basically come up with 4 primary fundraising events that they're going to be hosting in the next year. And one of the events, the Joliet Chamber approached the Rialto staff and wondered if they would want to participate in New Orleans North, which will be the 6th year in a row that the downtown has been hosting this event. And what they've offered is that the theater can set up a bar right outside the theater for that event, which is June 9th, and it starts at 5 o'clock. It's a Friday evening. And at the bar, there'll be the chamber will have a beer tent, but the bar outside the Rialto will be for mixed drinks and wines. And with this event, they're looking to come up with maybe a couple of sponsors. So, if you can keep people in mind for that. And the sponsors would have signage available, around the bar, as well as possibly having their organization's name printed on the drink cups, and maybe even T-shirts for the volunteers and workers that would staff the bar for the New Orleans North event. In addition, they want the Rialto is going to be having tours of the theater that will run every half an hour. So I imagine coming up, they're going to be needing some volunteers to help maybe with the bar and stuff like that. So I hope everyone will kind of put that on their calendar to participate if they can. Some of the 3 other things that they'll be looking at is we did the Festival of Trees ran for several years, and then last year, I believe, was the first, Twas the Month has been running now for 2 years, and there was an event called Shake, Sparkle, and Stir that they kind of want to revamp a little bit and change the date when this fundraiser would be held, and they want to move it to the Monday before Thanksgiving. And I believe in years past, they've had a really popular and successful events on that Monday going into Thanksgiving. So they're working on what exactly that event will be, but they're looking at definitely probably doing it on that date. The other things that they're looking to do, in years past, they had a gala called Ovation. This was where there was a entertainer brought in, and there was a private event for people to have dinner together in the rotunda, and then you would adjourn to the theater and have a performance. Obviously, the ticket prices would be, fairly substantial to be able to really bring in some money. This is going to be a very, hopefully, lucrative fundraising event that they're slotted to maybe do next January, February, or March, so of 2018. And so they're bringing this back, and it is called Ovation. So I believe they're going to stick with that name. And then the other thing that the foundation board is looking at in conjunction with staff is to possibly raffle off a car. They're looking to try to have the car donated. There would be a specific number of tickets sold, and again, the tickets probably have a little bit more of a substantial sale price, $50 to $100 ticket sale price. And they might stream this in for the drawing to take place on the night of Ovation or something. Again, that has not been solidified, but they're working on putting the pieces together to possibly raffle off a car. So those are some of the main things that were talked about, and the most important things that I wanted to share with you from the foundation group. Jack or Marilyn or Val, do you have any thing to add or correction?
No, I think that's about it, what we've gone over. We meet again next week.
Okay. That's my report.
Thank you. ED report, Val?
Yep, that's me. Since last we met, we presented 3 performances of Cirque d'Or, 1 performance of Rocktopia, and then tomorrow will be 1 performance of Celtic Woman. rentals, we had 2 days of precision dance, one young audience performance of Teacher from the Black Lagoon. We had the Saber Hockey Awards. We had 3 days of the Rainbow National Dance, and today we had the Chamber Luncheon. New shows announced. Three Dog Night was announced on the 21st with a show on August the 4th. We have proceeded with, I call them YAP shows, which stands for Young Audience Performances, and you would probably better know them as the field trips. We have gone ahead and booked 5 YAP performances for next year. We'll have 2 of Dr. Kaboom, which is kind of a sciencey show, breaking down the ages. I think it's from 2nd to 5th grade and 6th to 8th grade, so we'll appeal to 2 different age ranges. My Heart in a Suitcase, which is always good for the Anne Frank story. The Chicken Dance, I'm not exactly sure, and 4 Score. So those have all been confirmed. Jack secured a sponsor for us, so we have really, this is one of those that we can, Bob, if you want to vote, we have 0 risk because the sponsorship will more than cover the cost of the shows. Plus, we charge a $6 ticket for the students. We are working on getting that out to the teachers before they break for the summer so that we have it on their radar screen and we're not battling an uphill, influx of information when the school year starts. As an update for the famous 30 by 30, we are, by my calculations, 31 divided by 2, we are 73% of our way to the 30 by 30 shows. I'm happy to renounce, this is my first executive decision I had to undo because of a grant in the marquee, but anyway, I thought it was a good decision regardless. I'm happy to announce that we are participating in a recycling program via our current waste provider Groot. We anticipate heavy contributions to the program initially as we do some spring cleaning, Dale notwithstanding, we're going to baby steps for Dale, but anticipates that we'll level off as we get all caught up. With the support of the Volunteer Foundation, we are acquiring 10 new radios with earpieces, spare batteries, chargers, and we consider these to be a much needed addition to the theater and a life safety issue. Development secured Midland Bank for the audience. I brought you up to speed about the website. Our server crashed. It was our first day, Marilyn. I don't know. I thought it was you. Maybe it was me. Hard to say. And I think that brings us, there was one other thing. As we are moving forward with the foundation, and there's our hopes that we will be able to become more active in those community events that happen along the street, we needed to be cognizant of the fact that the Venue Works liquor license is what will be being used for us to be able to serve liquor wherever that be. Currently, the liquor license is within the parameters of the inside of the theater. So I've been working with Chris Regis and our home office to make sure that as we move forward, we have filled out the proper paperwork and have got everything in order so that Venue Works isn't at liability and we're not doing anything that we're not supposed to be doing by serving where we're not supposed to be serving. So that is a work in progress. And I think that's it for me.
Any questions about? Comments? Under my report, I would just compliment Val and the Chamber today on the luncheon that was held here. Jeff was the MC. Jeff is on the board of the Chamber as well. Did a very nice job of introducing Val. Val gave a very spirited speech, let's say. Answered questions afterward, and I thought she answered them very well. It was an opportunity to open the theater up. We had lunch in the rotunda, and then we moved into the theater for the speech. So, other than that, I don't have anything. Public comments. Anyone? Great.
Can future meetings have like Dale and Jack and Val sit like part of?
I think that's a wonderful idea. And I'm sitting here wondering why they're holding the back wall up.
To get off camera.
So next month we will attempt to do that a little better. Yes, good point.
Jane, on the foundation board on that sponsorship, did they talk about a dollar amount that they're looking for?
They have not pinned that down. It was tossed around at the table, but they would not commit to anything. I think they also want to develop a little bit of a statement of what they think their expenses are going to be, and a couple people regroup to see what exactly that amount should be.
All right, can you keep me apprised of that?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other?
This would probably be directed to Val. Val, can you give me an idea of where we're at with being able to accept credit cards at the bars?
Yes, funny you should ask that, because when Leanne wrote in here just a few seconds ago, that was about a $1,900 purchase on my credit card that I needed to give her my phone number for. So that, I believe, we have the iPad, and they're actually, if you poke your head around that curtain, behind the curtain, they're there. There'll be the 4 squares with the iPad touch screens. It's my plan that once we feel comfortable with the operation, I would like to make a big splash on Facebook to let folks know, but I don't want to do that until we really know what we're doing. So yeah, we're moving full steam ahead with that.
Big improvement.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we need to go into executive session to discuss a personnel issue. And unfortunately, the boardroom that we normally go to is being occupied by the auditors. So we're going to need to meet in here, so I'm going to ask you to leave. We will not be voting on anything when we come out. So you're welcome to stick around out in the foyer, or you're welcome to leave and enjoy your evening. We have one quick issue to discuss, so we need a motion to go into exec session. In a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Do you have to say what?
Yeah, for personnel.
I said,
Yeah, but we have to do a roll call on it.
okay.
I don't make this stupid.
Who seconded the motion? Kathy Kizna? Aye. Bob Osberger? Tom Osberger?
Yeah, yes.
Jane Condon?
Aye.
Donnie Chestnut?
Aye.
Jeff Pearson?
Aye.
Joe Carlosari?
Aye.
Bob Pilato?
Aye.